Hey guys, what's up, and welcome to the second episode of Watch It Wednesdays, the series where we take a movie that we love, hate, or haven't seen yet, and we watch it. Last week we watched Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and had an absolute ball doing so, and that means that up on the docket today is Pinocchio. So grab some popcorn, grab a drink, get comfy, and let's watch it. Before we jump into the video, I wanted to give some attention to this week's Watcher of the Week. This time around, it is Minnie Mouse. Minnie had some wonderful things to say on the Snow White video, providing some insight that I didn't get when I watched it, about how they interpreted the symbolism and the themes of the movie, and also calling me out on how there wasn't rotoscoping used. Disney recorded live action footage and then used it as a reference, not rotoscoping. And I didn't know that, and I also really appreciated a lot of the insights that you brought with your comment. One of the things that stood out to me the most was actually her comment about themes in the movie. Now, spoilers if you haven't watched that video, go watch it and come back to this if you haven't, but I didn't feel like there were really any outstanding themes from the movie. But Minnie offers that the themes are actually teaching that no matter how bad things get, you're allowed to be upset, but eventually you need to pull yourself together, be strong, optimistic, and have hope that things will get better. And you know what? That's something that I didn't get from how Snow White was acting. I think I was kind of minimizing her to my understanding of it. So it was cool to see this comment, and I really appreciate it. So thank you. If you guys want to be the next weekly watcher, make sure to leave a comment down below for this video, letting me know your thoughts on the movie, anything you thought was funny, interesting. Any comment at all will put you in the running, and it'll get you in next week's video. And thanks again, Minnie. This was a great way to start this series. All right, guys. So with all that out of the way, it's time to watch a movie. All right, here we go. Look at that font. That is so freaking cute. Ooh, another storybook opening. Oh, okay. In the background, Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan. So Disney was doing that whole thing that Pixar does where they tease the next movies, huh? I mean, not exactly. I don't think they actually were teasing their next lineup, but it's cool to see that Alice and Peter were there because they're not even in the golden age, I don't think. Was that Jiminy singing? Gorgeous. I didn't know that I was gonna like Jiminy Cricket, but I'm already so in. Oh, Jiminy's in little raggedy clothes. Jiminy deserves the best. He should not be in anything broken or ripped. Pinocchio without a mouth is kind of creepy. Who is this little sir? Jiminy.
I beg pardon.
Pinocchio's wearing Crocs. That's two so far. 2 movies in a row where we've seen somebody looking like they're wearing Crocs. Oh my God, that is terrifying. That's a whole ass man making that. You know, just like in Snow White, the backgrounds in this have all those like really exquisite pieces of like wooden decoration. Jesus Christ. Geppetto's smoking before he goes to sleep.
Look at him, Figaro.
Geppetto's like, look at him, Figaro. I'm gonna turn him into a bong in the morning. Figaro's little bed is so cute. Damn, Geppetto. He's got 3-4 other pipes next to him. Figaro just became one of those hang in there posters out of nowhere. I wonder if I can make that into a poster. If I can, the hell, there'll be a link to buy it if you want one. Just a meteor just obliterates the village. Ugh, that's terrifying.
I can walk!
Pinocchio's voice actor is really cute. Look at his cute little suit now.
Attaboy, Pinocchio.
Ew, I hate the nickname Pinocchio. So wait, are they like actually animals? Because the idea of just like a full-on anthropomorphic like fox walking the streets of this just like normal Italian village is terrifying. He's just going out tripping kids.
I'll run and tell his father. No, that'd be snitching. I'll go after him.
I ain't no snitch. Jeez. Hi. Oh, poor baby. They're just laughing at him. Jiminy, come on. You pervert. Stromboli's eating a charcuterie board with a hunting knife. Oh, poor little Pinocchio's crying. Oh my God. Okay, I know the point is to show that he's like getting like manipulated and taken advantage of and stuff, but oh my God, they do such a good job at it. I feel really bad for him. Like at this point, he's actually trying to go home. He's just a little kid trying to get back to his dad. Like that's so sad. It doesn't even feel like silly or goofy. It just feels scary. Oh my God, I cannot think of a single thing that'd be more chaotic than a boat full of like young preteen boys. Yeah, look, there it is. Look at that. That's chaos. That's World War Z.
Come on, let's go in and poke somebody in the nose.
And there it goes. Pinocchio gets zonked. Pinocchio, more like Pismokio. I need to stop. Oh my god, that's so sad. It's like the end of Sorry to Bother You.
What's he think I look like? A jackass?
The whole movie just led up to that one line. That's great. I hate that they call for their parents. It makes it so sad.
A whale? A whale named Monstro.
Okay, so did the village name the whale Monstro, or did the whale tell them like, yeah, it's me, Monstro, see? I'm gonna eat Geppetto. Okay, whales don't sleep like that, right? They don't just lay at the bottom of the ocean. I'm gonna look that up. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's so much worse the way that they sleep. Oh my god, that's so weird. Go, Pinocchio. Oh my god. He's gonna get chopped up into little toothpicks. You know, I remember being terrified of the Monstro at Disneyland when I was a kid. Like, I remember just staring at it like, holy crap, that thing's alive. Look at its eyes moving. And you know, you'd think that as I got older, I wouldn't be scared anymore, but this just reinstilled that fear. Look at Geppetto and his smoking habit again. Hotboxing a whale. Go! Oh my god! Oh my god, that's so scary. Holy crap, they made this whale seem terrifying. All the sounds and stuff. What is that sound? He's drifting? Oh my god, the sound design on that is great. It's completely overwhelming. It's awesome. You know, when I started Pinocchio, I didn't think that we'd end up with a half donkey, half puppet surfing on a giant tidal wave away from a murderous whale. But here we are. Oh my god, go, go, go. Where's Pinocchio? Oh my god. Hell yes. Look at that, coming back from the beginning too. That's a payoff. That's not like a Deus Ex Machina kind of situation. Hell yeah. Ooh, he looked cuter when he was a wooden puppet.
I'm a real boy.
Oh. Ew, no, don't turn the clocks back on. That's so sweet. Does Jiminy get his badge? Do it. Come on, come on. Come on. Yes! 18 karat gold. Oh, and then back to Jiminy singing. So sweet. I'll give it a clap. That was good. That was really cute. That was really cute. Everything wrapped up so nicely. All right, let me stop myself before I talk too much about it, because this next section of the video is where we actually rate it. We have an official Watch It Wednesday scorecard that we use to rate our movies. We have a bunch of areas about the film that we're going to be grading it on, and we're going to be giving each section a score from 1 to 5 stars. 3 is our absolute neutral. That is completely normal. That's where we'd score something that's just completely average, not good, not bad, just right in the middle. And then 1 is absolutely horrible. 2 is below average. 4 is above average, and then 5 is absolutely incredible. So with that explained, let's jump over to the grading. By the way, I actually got to take a little break before I do the grading, so it might look darker in here. I might even be wearing something different, but I'll see you there. Okay, so first up we have plot. And I think the plot moved pretty well. I think it made a lot of sense. I think the only thing that I could give it to have it be a little more streamlined is that maybe you could have had Stromboli be the person that brings up the whole selling Pinocchio into child labor thing, not introducing another character or something like that. But even that's like a small issue. But while I thought the plot was pretty good, I don't think that it was anything above average or incredible. So I think I'm gonna give it about 3 stars. All right, and then next up we have structure. Now the structure was a little different, but I think it worked. I noticed that around the 50-minute mark is when the stakes got like really big. This is about 20 minutes later than what's typical in screenwriting, which is that at the 30-minute mark is when you have like the big twist and blah, blah, blah. But I feel like it being pushed about 20 minutes didn't set it back at all. I think the sequence of events totally made sense. I think the only thing that maybe could be cut or streamlined would be the whole Stromboli part at the beginning. But I feel like not only is that a small thing to complain about, but it also doesn't hold the story back at all. Because once Pinocchio finally comes to when his friend's being turned into a donkey and all that, and he has that, you know, oh my god, I'm really in the thick of it moment, everything that happens after makes sense. He has to escape. He has to find Geppetto. He has to save Geppetto. They get home. Pinocchio sacrificed himself. And the only thing left to happen is for Pinocchio to come back. I think it made a lot of sense. I feel like it was actually pretty streamlined. I'm going to give it a 4. All right, so next up we have themes. Now, what are the themes that Pinocchio presents? So you guys watch my cat go up here and knock all that down. and didn't say anything. So as far as themes go with Pinocchio, I think the ones that stood out to me were listening to your conscience, following and adhering to a sense of morality, and the idea of choices and consequences. Now, the thing that I like about this movie is that those aren't hidden anywhere. Those are right in your face. Pinocchio makes bad calls, and that's what gets him somewhere. He doesn't listen to his conscience, and that's what gets him somewhere. And it all follows that same cause and effect kind of story. Now, I'm tempted to give it a 5, but I don't think that that would quite make sense. While this is better than average, I don't know if it's something incredible. So I think I'm going to give this one a 4, and those are some pretty high scores coming out. All right, so then next up we have characters. All right, I think the characters were one of the strongest things in this movie. Pinocchio had ambitions, but he also had his faults. He's naive and he trusts too much. However, at the heart of that is a sense of loyalty and wanting to do better, which eventually gives him the growth that he needs to become a real boy. Geppetto is shown to be caring not only to Pinocchio, but before he even had Pinocchio, he was caring for Cleo and Figaro. And not only that, but he makes all these wonderful clocks and toys and stuff, and he even brings so much joy into the world that the fairy explicitly calls it out. The villains all have secondary motivations, like yes, they're evil, but they also are money hungry or exploiting people. Even Jiminy Cricket has like a duality with him. You know, this was the first time I've actually sat down and watched this movie, and my understanding of who Jiminy Cricket was completely different from who he actually is in the movie. I thought he was a literal physical incarnation of Pinocchio's conscience, but Jiminy is actually just a person trying to fill this role in Pinocchio's life. And there is that duality about him where he knows what's right and what's wrong, and he wants to help Pinocchio figure that out. But in addition to that, he also has a bit of a temper. There's a couple of times where it seems like he gets upset that Pinocchio is not listening and kind of gets like a hell to him kind of attitude, but has to reel himself in. And that complexity really tempts me to give it 5 stars for characters. But there were some things that I felt were a little lacking. Like Honest John and his little minion, Monstro falls a little flat. Like I mentioned, Stromboli and that dude that pedals the boy donkeys, I feel like they were underutilized. And a big part of having good characters is using them well. So as much praise as I would give the characters in this, I think they're also going to be a 4, not a 5. All right, so then next up we have conflict. Now, the conflict is a bit conflicting for me. I really like that one part of the conflict is very clear, and that's the internal part of it, that being the choices that Pinocchio has to make. In that conflict, we get to see him trying to choose the right thing and failing to do so, or also trying to trust people that he shouldn't trust and reaping the consequences for that. However, the actual conflict of the movie is just off the rails. So for that, I think I'm comfortable giving it just a 3. All right, then next up we have the resolution. Now, the resolution for this movie confuses me because if this was any other movie, it would feel cheap. Somebody comes in and saves him at the last minute, right? That would feel like a Deus Ex Machina kind of thing. But this whole thing was promised at the beginning. The fairy basically says like, hey, if you're like brave and selfless, like you'll be a real boy. So when she comes in at the end and she's like, hey, sacrificing yourself, that's like ultimate bravery and ultimate selflessness. Here you go, you're a real boy. You know, like that totally makes sense. And it came about through Pinocchio actually acting on the lessons that he learned. So I think the resolution actually made a lot of sense. It completely tied everything together. So I'm actually going to give it a 5. And speaking of tying things together, that leads us to the next section, payoffs. I think I want to give payoffs a 5. I can't think of any loose ends. If you guys can think of any, tell me, but I'm going to give payoffs a 5. All right, that's it for the first section. We are now on to the second, starting with visuals. Now, the visuals for this were obviously beautiful. My instinct is to say like for the time, but even then, no, I think they're just pretty. And I think it totally works out in a way that is above average and very impressive. So I'm going to give it a 4, above average. All right, then next up, we got performances. Now, I think the voice actor for Pinocchio knocked it out of the park. Totally think he did exactly what he needed to do. Stromboli was captivating. Honest John totally just kept talking, kept you distracted, and got what he wanted. And the evil guy did pretty good too. Oh, all the little boys that got turned into donkeys, I felt how scared they were. That was great. I'm gonna give it a 4 for above average because it was impressive. There were some things where it fell a little flat, but overall, I think it was like star level performance. All right, the next up, we got set design. As you guys know, for animated movies, this is the background art. The backgrounds in this, just like in Snow White, are amazing, exquisitely crafted. There is an incredible amount of attention to detail. I think this part of the animation was just stunning. So it's definitely gonna get a 5. All right, the next up, we have stunt work. Now, for an animated movie, this would be something like the rotoscope and all that, but as we found out from our last video, they're not rotoscoping. And also, the one time where I think they used like frame of reference art was for the fairy, and it was completely average. She just kind of walked around. It was good, she looked great, but I don't think it was anything like impressive. So I'm gonna give it a 3 for average. All right, so next up we have special effects. Now, of course, you can't get practical effects in animated movies all the time, but as we saw in Snow White, there was stuff like the opening book and stuff like that. But this movie didn't have that. The book was also animated. If I were to try to translate translate that into the medium of animation. Special effects could also include things like the use of a multi-plane camera, which I did see used a few times, but I don't think there was anything that like stood out. So I think what feels right is another 3. All right, so next up we have props. You only need to look at Geppetto's house once to see all the work that went into designing all the props that were in this. As I mentioned, incredible attention to detail. Everything was unique. Everything had its own thing going on, its own gimmick to it, and I think it was great. So for all the effort and the attention to detail, I'm going to give this a 5. All right, then next up we have the next section, with the first piece being editing. Now the editing in this movie was actually pretty solid. I'm trying to think of anything that stood out and I really can't. So I'm gonna give this a solid average score of 3. There's nothing that like really stood out to me, but nothing that fell flat either. All right, so the next up we have VFX. Now for an animated movie, this is gonna be something like the particle effects of water or like the magical effects that the fairy uses. And those were absolutely charming. These hand-drawn effects that are actually done pretty well. So I think for VFX, I'm gonna give them a 5. All right, so the next up we have music. When You Wish Upon a Star, that's like the Disney anthem. That comes from this movie. We also got I Got No Strings. I mean, come on, Ultron sang that. Then we've got An Actor's Life for Me. Like these songs are played all the time in the Disney parks, on soundtracks, on everything. And while the actual like quality of the songs I think are just about at a 4, I think the memorability and like, you know, timelessness of them boosts them up to a 5. I mean, When You Wish Upon a Star, man, that's from this movie. That's crazy. All right, the next up we have sound design. Sound design, immediately I'm giving a 5. When Pinocchio walks, there's perfect wood steps with it. The cuckoo clocks all have these very distinct sounds. And then Monstro, oh my God, Monstro. I was genuinely freaked out when Monstro was trying to swim after them. He sounds like a freaking freight train. I thought it was such a good idea, a perfect way to make a villain like this actually seem threatening and in your face, because like what it comes down to is like it's a whale. It's not gonna growl at you, and it's swimming underwater. It's not like you get to hear it knocking down trees and stuff. And they found a way to like circumvent that problem, and it totally worked. Instant 5 stars. All right, then last up we have the bonus points, the X factor, the bonus 10 points that are awarded to a movie if we feel like it has something that gives it that extra oomph. Our last movie, Snow White, actually got the bonus X Factor points because of its position as the first ever animated feature film. And that leads us to the question, does Pinocchio deserve the X Factor bonus 10 points? Even though I really enjoyed this movie more so even than Snow White, I can't think of anything that pushes it over. So unfortunately, Pinocchio does not get the X Factor bonus 10 points. And speaking of points, it's time to count them up and see what Pinocchio gets on our grading sheet. And so when we add all that together, that gives Pinocchio the total score of 70 out of 85. And so when we take Pinocchio's 70 points and divide them by the total of 85, we end up with a grade of 82%, putting Pinocchio solidly in the B tier of our Disney animated movies. And I think beating Snow White by 1 whole letter. That's awesome. So what do you think of my grading? Do you agree? Is it a good score representative of the film, or do you think I was too harsh, too nice? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you filled this card out with me, make sure to send me a screenshot or let me know the score that you got in the comment section below. Guys, thank you so much for watching this with me. I had an absolute blast. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to see your thoughts. And don't forget that automatically gives you the chance of being next week's weekly watcher. And speaking of next week, the next movie up on the docket is going to be Fantasia. I'm incredibly excited to watch this movie. It's going to be my first time watching it all the way through, and I hope to have you guys there when I watch it. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it, and while you're down there, leave a like on the video if you liked it. But anyway, guys, I will see you next week with another Watch It Wednesdays, and until then, go do some good stuff. Later.